Hello, Yankees fans. Today we need to talk about some of the latest developments surrounding the New York Yankees. And I have to say, this news is stirring up a lot of strong feelings across the fan base. The offseason is here, and while there are plenty of stories about potential trades and free agent signings, one of the biggest talking points right now is the injury situation with Carlos Rodon. If you've been following the team, you already know Rodon had shoulder surgery. But the true extent of his injury and the impact it had during the postseason is only now becoming fully clear. It is something that, as a Yankees supporter, is incredibly frustrating to witness because it raises serious questions about the way injuries are being managed by the organization. Rodon, who has been one of the top pitchers in the Yankees rotation, entered the playoffs clearly not at full strength, and it showed on the mound. Reports indicate that by the time the team reached the postseason, he couldn't fully straighten his arm. For a pitcher of his caliber, that's a huge limitation and one that can completely alter performance. And unfortunately, that is exactly what happened. His postseason numbers were abysmal compared to his regular season performance, posting an earned run average well over 9 in limited innings, giving up multiple hits, runs, and walks, while striking out fewer batters than expected. For a player who has been a reliable force during the season, seeing him struggle like this is disheartening, especially when considering the stakes of playoff baseball. The question many Yankees fans are asking now is why he was even on the field. With the knowledge that Rodon was dealing with such a severe shoulder issue, it seems like basic logic would have dictated that he be placed on the injured list and allowed to recover fully. Having him pitch while injured not only compromised his own performance, but also the team's chances of success during critical postseason games. It's the kind of situation that makes fans question decisions by both the coaching staff and the medical team. Pitchers, more than almost any other players, need to be handled with care when it comes to injuries, and when those concerns are overlooked, the consequences can be significant. The Yankees have already faced criticism for handling other injured players poorly, and Rodon's case seems to be another example of mismanagement that could have been avoided. Looking ahead to 2026, the Yankees will need to address this situation carefully. With Rodon expected to return only by late April or sometime in May, the rotation at the start of the season is going to look very different for what fans might expect from a team with championship aspirations. Alongside him, other key pitchers like Gerrit Cole and Clarke Schmidt are also returning from injuries, with Cole recovering from Tommy John surgery and Schmidt dealing with similar concerns. This creates an immediate need for the Yankees to have a dependable fifth starter who can help bridge the gap until the injured pitchers are ready to take them out again. Without that depth, the team risks beginning the season with a rotation that lacks stability and dominance, which could have major implications if the goal is to contend for the American League title and beyond. There are a few names floating around that could fill this crucial role. One player who has garnered attention is Tatsuya Maeda, a 27-year-old right-handed pitcher from Japan. He's a highly sought-after free agent and could provide the Yankees with both reliability and upside for the rotation. Another potential option is Michael King, who has experience pitching at a high level in the majors and could serve as a strong stopgap while the primary starters are still recovering. There's also Mackenzie Gore, though acquiring him might require the team to give up significant prospects, which presents its own set of challenges and strategic decisions. What's clear is that the Yankees cannot afford to enter the 2026 season with an incomplete rotation, especially given the uncertainty surrounding the health of key pitchers. The offseason becomes a critical period not just for adding stars, but for ensuring that the pitching staff has the depth to withstand injuries and maintain a competitive edge. When you take a step back and look at the potential rotation once everyone is healthy, it's truly a fearsome lineup. Max Fried can serve as a top-of-the-rotation ace, while Gerrit Cole, when fully recovered, is one of the best pitchers in baseball. Carlos Rodon, despite the injury setbacks, has shown over multiple seasons that he can be a consistent contributor. Cam Schlittler has emerged as a promising young arm who could develop into a reliable number 2 or 3 starter, and will Warren adds flexibility and experience. Luis Healy provides depth, and Clarke Schmidt, if healthy, strengthens the overall rotation considerably. It's the kind of group that could dominate when firing on all cylinders, but the key word there is when healthy. The Yankees need to carefully manage the recovery of injured pitchers and ensure that returning arms are not rushed back into action prematurely. The margin for error in the postseason is incredibly small, and any misstep can have outsized consequences. One concern that remains is Ryan Yero, who currently projects as the number 4 starter for the opening day rotation. While Yero has potential, he doesn't yet inspire the same confidence as the other top pitchers in the rotation. His role may be more suitable as a 5th starter or a bullpen option, at least until he develops further consistency and experience. The broader point is that while the Yankees have a deep and talented rotation on paper, the reality is that injuries have disrupted their plans, and the team must act decisively in the offseason to fill any gaps and prepare for the long season ahead. It's not just about having talent on the roster. It's about having a fully healthy and balanced pitching staff that can withstand the grind of the season and perform in high-pressure situations. Fans should also consider the lessons from previous seasons. The Yankees have faced challenges in managing roster depth before, and there have been instances where a lack of attention to key positions required last-minute trades or acquisitions to plug holes. The experience with Rodon is a reminder that even top-tier pitchers are vulnerable and need proper support. The combination of strategic signings, careful medical oversight, and proactive planning will determine whether the team can enter 2026 ready to compete at the highest level. The goal is not just to have star power, but to have functional star power, where pitchers can actually perform at the level expected of them. In the coming weeks, attention will turn toward potential free agent signings and trades. The focus on adding another rotation arm cannot be overstated, as the health and effectiveness of the pitching staff will largely dictate the Yankees' ability to contend in the early months of the season. With Rodon and Cole recovering and Schmidt's availability in question, the team must ensure that whoever fills the 5th starter role can not only handle innings, but also perform under pressure. Whether it's Maeda, King, Gore, or another target, the decision will be critical for balancing the rotation and providing the Yankees with the best chance to start the season on the right foot. Now, taking a deeper look at the Yankees' rotation as it stands for the start of 2026, it's clear that the team is going to have to navigate a tricky situation. With Carlos Rodon not expected until late April or May, Garrett Cole targeting May or June for a return, and Clark Schmidt's status still uncertain, the beginning of the season is going to require careful planning and smart utilization of available arms. Max Fried will likely lead the rotation, and his role as the number 1 starter is critical because the team will need someone to set the tone early in the season. Fried has shown the ability to dominate lineups when he's at his best, but even he will need support from the rest of the rotation to carry the team through the first 2 months. Cam Schlittler, who emerged as a key piece in the previous seasons, will step into the number 2 slot. And while his development has been impressive, he is still refining his repertoire. Will Warren and Ryan Yero are expected to follow, with the 5th starter role left open for acquisition, whether it's Tatsuya Maeda, Michael King, or another candidate the Yankees target during the offseason. This structure gives some hope, but also highlights the vulnerability of the rotation if any of these pitchers struggle or face setbacks. The importance of having a fully healthy rotation cannot be overstated. The Yankees have the talent on paper to be one of the most feared rotations in baseball, but the reality is that injuries have a way of disrupting even the most talented teams. Carlos Rodon's shoulder surgery and the subsequent struggles in the postseason were a stark reminder of how fragile the pitching staff can be. When a pitcher is not performing at full capacity, it affects not only their own output, but the team as a whole. Games that could have been wins become losses, and the postseason margin for error disappears. The Yankees' front office and medical staff will need to ensure that lessons have been learned from these scenarios. Players must be managed carefully, and decisions should be made with a long-term perspective rather than short-term desire to have them on the field. It's not just about who is available. It's about who can perform at the level expected and contribute to team success over a full season. Another key aspect is how the Yankees manage the recovery timeline for injured pitchers. With Rodon returning in late April or May and Cole aiming for May or June, the team must carefully plan the innings and starts to avoid re-injury. Pitchers coming off significant procedures, like Tommy John surgery or shoulder repair, require gradual reintegration. This is where a fifth starter becomes essential. The player filling this role will carry the rotation in the early weeks, giving the injured stars time to regain full strength. Choosing the right pitcher for this spot is crucial, not just in terms of ability, but also durability. The team cannot afford to throw someone into the rotation who might struggle or exacerbate the workload of other pitchers. Depth and flexibility will be the pillars of the Yankees' strategy to start 2026 strong. In addition to the rotation, the bullpen will need to be strategically structured. With potential gaps in the starting staff early on, relievers may be asked to cover additional innings. This increases the importance of having a reliable bullpen that can handle high-pressure situations without wearing down prematurely. While the focus often falls on starters, the connection between rotation health and bullpen effectiveness is undeniable. If starters like Rodon and Cole cannot deliver deep outings consistently, the bullpen will be taxed, and that can have a cascading effect on the team's overall performance. This makes off-season acquisitions even more critical because the front office must ensure that both starting and relief pitching are strong enough to handle early season challenges and maintain competitiveness. Fans will also be watching the Yankees' decision-making closely regarding free agent pitchers. Tatsuya Maeda, Michael King, and other potential acquisitions represent more than just talent. They represent stability and insurance for a rotation that will face early season vulnerabilities. Maeda, in particular, is intriguing because of his proven success overseas and his potential to adapt to Major League Baseball, providing a reliable option while Rodon and Cole return. Michael King offers experience and familiarity with high-level competition, and his inclusion could offer balance to a rotation that might otherwise feel stretched. The team's approach to the offseason will send a strong message about their commitment to winning in 2026 and managing the health of players proactively rather than reacting to injuries after the fact. Looking at the broader picture, the Yankees' rotation, when fully healthy, has the potential to be one of the most formidable in baseball. Max Fried as an ace, Cole as the number 2, Rodon contributing when ready, Schlittler developing into a top starter, and additional options like Will Warren and Luis Healy create a deep pool of pitching talent. Clark Schmidt, if he returns to form, adds further strength and experience. However, the real question is how soon these players can be trusted to perform at their peak without risking further injury. Early mismanagement or rushed returns could undermine the team's chances to compete for division titles and beyond. The balance between talent, health, and strategic deployment will define the Yankees' success in the coming season. It's also worth noting that the offseason moves are not only about acquiring talent, but also about maintaining balance across the roster. The team has learned in past seasons that neglecting certain positions or relying too heavily on injured stars can lead to reactive trades, short-term fixes, and inconsistency. The experience with Rodon highlights the importance of forward-thinking planning and the value of depth. The Yankees will need to enter 2026 not just with star pitchers ready to perform, but with a system in place to manage injuries effectively and sustain performance throughout the long season. The front office has the tools and resources to do this, but execution will be critical. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. Baseball fans are buzzing with excitement and disbelief as whispers turn into a roar. JOSÉ Ramírez might finally be donning pinstripes. Sources close to the club hint that the New York Yankees are closing in on what could be a historic acquisition, a move that would shake the very foundations of the league. The whispers started as a quiet murmur in the locker rooms, but now, every sports bar from the Bronx to Brooklyn seems to be alive with speculation. Imagine the infield synergy, the power at the plate, the kind of clutch plays that could redefine Yankees baseball. JOSÉ Ramírez has been a force to reckon with, and the idea of him stepping into Yankee Stadium has sent chills down the spines of both fans and rival front offices. Industry insiders suggest that negotiations have been intense, with every detail scrutinized, and that the Yankees might be pulling out all stops to finalize a deal. A move of this magnitude is rarely simple, Contract talks, trade logistics, and locker room dynamics all play a role, but the energy surrounding this potential signing is electric. Social media has exploded with mock lineups, highlight reels, and fan reactions, each post amplifying the rumor into what feels like an unstoppable tidal wave. Ramirez's combination of skill, charisma, and consistency makes him a coveted asset, and the mere possibility of him in New York has created a frenzy of speculation about the Yankees' ambitions this season. Meanwhile, rival teams are reportedly monitoring every development, aware that landing or losing Ramirez could tilt the balance of power. Analysts debate how his presence could impact the team's batting order, field coverage, and clubhouse atmosphere. Meanwhile, fans can't help but dream. Imagine the roar of the crowd when he steps up to the plate, the excitement of a highlight reel catch, the anticipation of a game-changing double. The city is alive with chatter, from taxis to sports talk shows, each conversation a piece of the rumor that refuses to die down. Whether the deal materializes or not, one thing is clear. The mere possibility of JOSÉ Ramírez joining the Yankees has turned into the talk of the town, a tantalizing promise of a season that could be remembered for years. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.